Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your tropical update for June 12th. We have quite a few systems that we're watching now and that the Hurricane Center is watching and that we've been talking about for a few days. So let's get into it. First, I want to show you guys a, uh, a more interesting version of the same map here with some lows and highs drawn in there. I didn't get all of them on, but some of them are kind of important. This high we talked about yesterday, located over the Central Atlantic, that's moving off to the side as the weather in the northern hemisphere moves this way. So our next high is currently over Texas, causing very hot conditions over Texas and Oklahoma today and other areas of the south. That's going to play into this area of interest here and how this moves once it makes its way towards the north. I have a few low pressure systems. None of them are tropical, except for this one down here, Invest 92E. We're watching all of this convection down here. So let's begin there with 92E. Remember, we try to stay focused on the Atlantic, but sometimes, they're closely intertwined. So let's begin with 92E as we see a lot more convection today, a little bit of rotation going on. I removed the tropical alert for the southern coast of Mexico because it looks like it's going to stay away from that coast. National Hurricane Center now up to 90% chance within the next 5 days. I didn't update the 5 days, but I updated the 48 hours. 50-50 chance here within the next 2 days. Max wind speed's currently around 30 miles an hour. Now, the models are calling for a Category 1 hurricane. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Cat 2 or 3. And like I said, going to stay away from that Mexican coast, which is good news for interest there. Our area of interest south of Central America, that is on the Pacific side, and once again, I'll take my cursor on here. This area located here, where there is some convection going on, National Hurricane Center now at a 20% chance formation. That's the same as yesterday. And the models are kind of all over the place whether or not this thing forms. So we'll keep an eye on this for potential development. In a similar way, in the same satellite image, actually, we have this convection located in between South America and Central America over the Caribbean Sea. And we could see some significant development of this according to the GFS. The European model isn't quite as bullish on it, but the National Hurricane Center now outlining a 20% chance formation in the next 5 days. And we want to keep an eye on Nicaragua and Honduras, as I've mentioned in the previous updates, for potential formation there. Let's begin with the GFS model. This is Wednesday morning. We see all three of our storms very clear here. We see a hurricane out of Invest 92E. We see a strong tropical storm south of Guatemala. Now we have a tropical depression actually located near Nicaragua here. This is Wednesday morning on the GFS model. It develops all three systems in the next 3 days, which it is kind of quick, I think. This is also kind of quick and also very bullish in terms of development. A strong hurricane south of Mexico, again, thankfully away from land. Another tropical storm, that's that area of interest we were talking about south of Guatemala there, and then near Nicaragua, a tropical storm there, potentially a larger sized one that we'll want to keep an eye on. Again, that's Thursday morning, and by Friday morning, the 92E, which has become a hurricane, is off the map. We have a tropical storm associated with that area of interest in the Eastern Pacific, and then that area we've been talking about in the Caribbean Sea has now moved just past the tip of Honduras and Nicaragua there, and made its way heading towards the Yucatan, where we have that high pressure in place. Again, that high has now moved over to near Bermuda. Well, it was over Texas. It's over Texas now. It's going to be over Bermuda here in 5 days from now. But nonetheless, it's remnants still blocking the storm from moving much further to the north, which will cause it to turn this way towards Mexico as it stands right now. Now, if it takes longer to develop, like the European model suggests, we'll talk about what could happen there, and let's do that. So the European model clearly not as bullish in terms of development. Again, the invest in our two areas of interest, one here, in the invest there. By Thursday morning, it develops into a tropical depression, maybe the area of interest in the Caribbean. It's really not strong in terms of development. We have a tropical storm due to the invest in the Eastern Pacific and no development with that the area of interest in the Pacific. it stays the same by the time we get to Friday. Tropical depression or tropical storm making its way towards Nicaragua Friday morning. And with this much slower movement, remember on the GFS model, the storm's located here, south of Cuba near the Yucatan on Friday morning. The European model has it much further to the south. If this takes place, then what could happen is the high moves all the way out over the Atlantic, and we actually have a gap that could cause impacts to the United States Gulf Coast. Again, it's all in terms of how quickly it develops, how quickly the storm gets to the north. So, like I said, a lot of things to talk about today. I'll begin scaling back at how much we're talking about the Eastern Pacific, as now the focus shifts to the Atlantic, the Caribbean Sea, and potential formation there within the next 5 days. That's all for now. Chris Dixon, Catholic Media.